dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew? It's your boy DJ Nuki, your girl.
Sierra Nicole.
Back on the channel with more Sunday V2, man. We got rappers who went broke. It's the stupidest ways. Name a rapper you know that went broke in a stupid way. There's only one for sure come to mind.
Who?
None coming. You got it. Quick fire.
That went broke in the stupidest way.
Montel Jordan. That's one.
Oh. Well.
Stupid way. And you had to sell your catalog. Stupid.
Who else? I can't think.
T-Pain. Spend all his money at strip club.
Oh.
Come on now. I need.
But that's the thing. Like,
there's plenty of them went broke.
I mean, yeah, but I'm be keeping over people and
T-Pain tell everybody.
But T-Pain has.
That's the one I was
and then
looking for.
The Montel one I did watch with
his
the
documentary. Oh, another one.
Who?
Quick fire. One more.
Who?
Bay Area.
Who? Say it.
Was it Palazzo Pants? I don't know the pants.
Okay, just say it.
Not Palazzo Pants.
Say
MC
it.
Hammer.
Oh. You said Palazzo Pants. But anyway.
I like wrong pants. Parachute pants, my bad.
But
oh man, with that being said, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you gotta do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
like it with a thumbs up.
That's all we ask, man. But let's go ahead and see what rappers they got. I know three. Well, I will give you that. Montel might not be that stupid. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But for sure, T-Pain and MC Hammer gotta be on the list. Let's go. Sorry.
Before filing for bankruptcy, 50 Cent was spending $108,000 per month to rent an 18-bedroom mega mansion, while T-Pain's bankruptcy was so brutal.
Hold on. I swear 50 Cent bought this crib.
Well, apparently not.
Is this the one in Connecticut? That was like Mike Tyson old crib? Because I swear he wasn't renting, he bought it. So, I don't know.
To rent an 18-bedroom mega mansion, while T-Pain's bankruptcy was so brutal that by the end of it, he had to borrow money just to buy Burger King. However, let's begin by talking about DMX, who had to file for bankruptcy on 3 separate occasions as he couldn't afford child support. You see, DMX had 17...
I ain't gonna hold you, Sonny. We ain't gotta speak on the dead, bruh. Gotta let that one go. R.I.P. to the man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna speak on
children with 11 different women, and almost every child resulted in some kind of lawsuit or child support requirement. For example, DMX was sued for $1.5 million worth of child support in 2008 after a genetic test confirmed that he was the father of a previously unclaimed baby, which when combined with his declining music career, resulted in his first bankruptcy filing. 4 years later in 2012, DMX was sued by a different ex-partner for a further $1 million worth of child support, and a year after this lawsuit, he'd file for bankruptcy a second time. His third bankruptcy would occur in 2016, during which it would be discovered that DMX had racked up a further $1.7 million worth of unpaid child and family support, which accompanied $950,000 in bank debt and $1.7 million worth of tax debt. Since he had $0 in his bank account, DMX was sentenced to 6 months in prison for the child support, a further year in prison for the unpaid taxes, and was also ordered to pay the government $2.29 million in restitution after he was released from his time behind bars. However, DMX never had the chance to pay the amount back in full, as he'd die in April 2021, and despite his extensive family tree, DMX never wrote a will, meaning that his family was still involved in money-related legal battles even after he was dead and buried. Tyga was certainly better at...
That's always the downfall, man. Like, I think, to be honest, in any type of situation, once you're able to, you should you know what I'm saying, or have something in order, you know what I'm saying, for people.
Like something, yeah.
Like don't leave and don't have nothing in no type of order, because then people are left here scrambling, you know what I'm saying? But also, with the whole bankruptcy thing, a lot of millionaires and billionaires filed. Well, I don't know about billionaires, but a lot of millionaires have filed bankruptcy. It's a way they like after you read into it, see how they be finagling the system. It's one of those finagles for them. You know what I mean?
His child support payments, although he definitely had a weakness when it came to luxury spending. After cultivating his career as a successful rapper, Tyga's name entered news headlines after he'd purchased a $200,000 Mercedes Maybach for his girlfriend, while being $480,000 behind in rental payments on a luxury Malibu home. As a result, Tyga was sued by his landlord, although he'd failed to show up to court as he was on holiday in Turks and Caicos. Yet this situation wasn't the only example of Tyga spending big in one area while being financially behind in another. For example, in 2016, while shopping for a new Bentley, Tyga's Ferrari 458 was repossessed in the parking lot as Tyga hadn't been paying for the loan. Despite this, Tyga would go on to purchase another Mercedes Maybach, as well as a Land Rover, a Rolls-Royce Ghost, and a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, all of which were repossessed for non-payment, while he was seen looking at a brand new Lamborghini. In addition to this, Tyga was sued by a second landlord for $181,000 after once again missing rental payments in 2016, which was followed by a third property-related lawsuit in 2020, where Tyga had racked up over $200,000 in damages and unpaid rent on.
I'm wondering. I'm over here thinking like, why? Maybe he stopped paying. Maybe he going to the dealership to get it. Okay, you know it's finna get a repo.
Probably.
But because to be honest, like the video we were watching the other day, it's way easier to get a car out here than it is a home.
But my thing is, if you know that you in so much debt and you owe so many people,
They can have. But my thing is, he can have bad credit all day, as long as he can show that he or his money and he can financially afford the car. They approve every day.
I ain't seen nothing about no credit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying even though he can, all he got to do is say, "Hey, I got the money," and they gonna look like, "Oh, you a rapper? Oh,
But
this
if
is your
you
money."
have the money, why you ain't paying these other folks?
Maybe he getting tired of, baby. He just said he wants something new and different,
Okay.
and he know they coming to get it, so he like, "Hey, gotta drive."
Okay, what
You
about
know,
the rental properties?
Hell, he was living with Kylie and them then. Fuck creep.
Wow. Okay.
I'm with the girl.
That's crazy, but okay.
That's an option though. Quit acting like it ain't, bro. That's an option.
Another rental property. It was then revealed that Tyga was being court-ordered to pay for $200,000 worth of unpaid jewelry, which accompanied the accusation by his ex-girlfriend Black China that he'd been missing child support payments. And just to add a cherry on top of the cake, while all of this was going down, Tyga was in $890,000 worth of tax debt to the government. Despite all of this, Tyga is still seen flexing a lavish life on social media, which is a luxury unavailable to rap producer Scott Storch, who blew through $70 million in less than 3 years. Scott had earned this money by producing for some of the biggest names in music, including Kanye West, Dr. Dre, and Jay-Z. Yet Scott Storch's insane net worth began to diminish after he purchased an insane supercar collection,
30 cars, including Bugattis and Ferraris and all that kind of stuff,
as well as a $10.5 million mansion where he housed more than 20 staff, including a.
You know what's so crazy? Because we do know cars depreciate, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the worst investments, especially $1 million car like a Bugatti, but that's my, you know what I'm saying? That's my dream. If I got that kind of money, that's the effing money. But my thing is, how does like a big house like that really appreciate when there's slim amount of people who can actually afford that size of a home? You know what I'm saying? Because homes are a good investment because they appreciate the value. But with a home that's worth $10 million, who's gonna be able to afford that? And if I can afford that, why not I just go build my own the way I like it instead of buying something that's already built? So that's the reason why I be like, bigger mansions like that, I don't see the value in it.
Boat captain, just in case he wanted to go out on his yacht.
The captain was on full-time staff?
Yeah.
In case you want to take the boat out?
Yeah.
And the boat was how many bedrooms?
7,
7-bedroom boat, worth about how much?
20 million.
20 million.
Scott went on to explain just how much this lifestyle was costing him.
My monthly overhead for my household employees was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million a month I was spending.
And that if he continued to work, there wouldn't have been any problems, although this isn't what he would do.
It went from me working and delivering to doing drugs and not going to the studio.
I just stopped working, and then I got depressed and jaded.
As mentioned, Scott stopped making music and instead began began to get addicted to the nightlife in Miami. And with no money coming in plus $1 million a month going out, it was only going to be so long before Scott hit zero. By 2009, just 3 years after having a net worth of $70 million, Scott had filed for bankruptcy. 6 years later, Scott would file for bankruptcy a second time, claiming to have a grand total of $3,600 of assets to his name, $100 in cash, $500 in clothing, and a $3,000 watch. Most shocking, his music companies are valued at $0, and in 2014 he made a grand total of only $10,000. Throughout this hardship, Fat Joe was one of the only rappers to keep their friendship with Scott, possibly because Fat Joe went through a similar situation himself. Fat Joe had earned $1.18 million in 2007, $1.28 million in 2008, $265,000 in 2009, and $630,000 in 2010. However, despite having made this $3.3 million in only 4 years, Fat Joe failed to pay taxes on it. He was able to come up with $718,000 and had also done extensive charity work. However, this wasn't enough to satisfy the judge, who sentenced Fat Joe to 4 months in prison. Despite taking personal responsibility for his actions by stating, "There was a lot going on in the years that I didn't file my taxes, but it was my responsibility," less than 4 years later, Fat Joe entered news headlines again after the IRS revealed that he still owed them $1.1 million in taxes. However, this number was absolutely nothing in comparison to Fat Joe's friend Lil Kim, who owed almost 4 times more.
Damn. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I think people are finding like more like tax credits now than they did. Also, a lot of these people had people managing their money. They had like a financial advisor or had their own accountant. And a lot of those situations, those accountants used to be like stealing money from. It's been a lot of situations where folks was like, "Hey, I thought you paid my stuff," and they were, "But I'm missing this money out of my account." But the IRS ain't gonna come to the accountant; they coming to you because it's your responsibility to pay. And you was like, "Well, I had my accountant pay because this much money is missing out of my account." And the accountant don't do nothing but cycle into their account. Yeah. And they be like, "Oh yeah, we got that taken care of," but they be stealing money. So it's hard to really find trust. And like sometimes you just gotta. When it's dealing with money. But I guess because they be so busy, they can't control or handle
or understand or
handle all that.
Because it's so much.
Yeah, so that's crazy though.
And became, quote, too poor to file for bankruptcy. Lil Kim wasn't nearly as successful as some of the other rappers featured on this list. However, this didn't stop her from purchasing a $2.3 million mansion back in 2002, notably with the help of a mortgage. Throughout the 2000s, Kim's music career slowed dramatically, and by 2018, Kim was filing for bankruptcy, as she still owed the full $2 million on her property, despite the 16 years that had passed. In addition to this, Kim now owed $1.85 million to the government for 13 years worth of unpaid taxes, which accompanied a further $185,000 in unpaid legal fees. The bankruptcy became even worse after discovering that by 2018, Kim was earning a comparatively small $18,000 per month, of which $2,000 went to staff, another $2,000 went to clothing, and $10,000 went to travel fees, meaning she had less than $4,000 per month to dig herself out of $4 million worth of debt. Somehow Lil Kim managed to, quote, get her finances into good shape, and her bankruptcy filing was dismissed. However, MC Hammer wasn't quite so lucky. Despite having the 5th best-selling hip-hop album of all time, which sold 17 million copies and featured songs such as You Can't Touch This, MC Hammer wasn't able to stay out of financial trouble. He bought more than 17 luxury cars, a private jet, 2 helicopters, and 21 racehorses. Some of the horses were valued at around $1 million. Most of his expenses, however, were on his home. He bought a property in Fremont, California for $12 million, and spent another $30 million on renovations to turn it into his dream home. He added a bowling alley.
Instead of just building your own dream home, probably for $5 to $10 million, you bought the home that was already $12 million because it had the structure you might wanted. But you spent $30 million on renovation, where you could have probably took the $12 million in the first place and built your dream home. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no point of buying something that it ain't what you like. You know what I'm saying? I ain't finna go. But I ain't gonna lie, because have you ever seen the MC Hammer movie?
I don't know.
I watched the movie. That's why I had brought him up earlier. Oh, okay. I had actually watched the movie about him.
basketball court, baseball field, recording studio, movie theater, 17-car garage, tennis courts, and 2 swimming pools to the 40,000 square foot mansion. One of the pools was shaped like his signature baggy pants that came to be known as hammer pants. He added several marble statues of himself throughout the property and installed a gold hot tub in his bedroom. And to keep everything running smoothly, he employed a staff of nearly 200 people on the property, which cost him an estimated $500,000 a month. Unsurprisingly, less than 5 years later, MC Hammer had filed for bankruptcy, at which point it would be revealed that he hadn't only spent his entire $70 million fortune, but had also taken on a further $13 million in loans, which had been borrowed from over 200 different lending institutions. Despite having spent a total of $42 million on his California dream home, the property resold for only $6.5 million. However, if we're on the topic of
and another thing with him, because it's so crazy, he ended, after all that, you know what career he went into, but he ended up getting rich again. And you know, we say, hey, if you ever want to get rich, use your mouth, either rap or sing, or go to the pulpit. You can get rich any type of way, but he ended up getting wealthy again from the church. Yeah. And that's crazy, bruh.
Homes being repossessed by the bank, we need to talk about Birdman, who's ranked as the 15th richest rapper in the world with a net worth of $110 million. But this is what makes Birdman's story unique. If he was worth over $100 million, why was his Miami mansion being repossessed by the bank for non-payment? Birdman had purchased the home back in 2012 for $14.5 million, yet by 2017 a foreclosure suit had been filed by the bank, and quote, all personal items within the home, including platinum records gracing the walls, a pool table, and dozens of pairs of shoes were all confiscated and placed in storage. The mansion was eventually sold by the bank for $10.85 million in July 2020. However, Birdman's lawyer has come out to explain the foreclosure, stating that it was the result of illegal loan terms set by the bank, so perhaps take Birdman's bankruptcy with a grain of salt. However, there's no ambiguity around how T-Pain went broke, as he's now come on multiple podcasts to explain just how brutal his bankruptcy was. T-Pain had built up a net worth of over $40 million at his peak in 2007, with all of his closest rap friends advising him that as long as he kept rapping, the money would keep on coming.
Bruh, I hit that whole song in my head. We got drunk and Tinder. Bruh, you ain't see it though. You ain't see it.
With all of his closest rap friends advising him that as long as he kept rapping, the money would keep on coming in.
Everybody before me that I had to look up to, they were just like, no, this is great. Once you start rapping, it's just money all the time. Nothing bad's ever gonna happen. Your family's not gonna come after you. Just rap, and it's just girls and swimming pools after this.
For this reason, his spending began to get out of control.
I bought my Bugatti.
You bought it for $2.1 million.
$2.1 million.
And then you, very shortly thereafter, you sold it for, all they gave you was $800,000.
Yeah.
So it was like renting a car for $1.3 million.
Yeah.
With the purchase of his Bugatti accompanying a $400,000 chain and houses for his workmates.
I got this house I wanted it. I got this other house for my assistants and, you know, all my runners and my producers and stuff. So we bought a house after that, and we just started going crazy with the money. I wasn't paying attention to it.
Which was extra bad, as T-Pain never even checked in on how much money he had.
I didn't want to know because I was led to believe that it's only gonna grow. Because these rappers told me that I'm just gonna make money forever. It's just gonna keep going up and up.
In the process, T-Pain began to create less music, and within a few years, his accountant was advising him that he was almost out of money.
My accountant was like, dude, you're like out of money. And I was like, no, I'm not.
And while T-Pain seemed confident that he had plenty of cash left, reality set in for him after he'd have to borrow money just to buy food.
When you say you was broke, you had like $0 broke?
I had to borrow money to get my kids Burger King.
What's the most you ever had in the bank at one time?
$40 million.
However, T-Pain was lucky to get away with a loss of only $40 million, as the final person on our list makes this number look like loose change, 50 Cent. 50 didn't only release the 10th best-selling American hip-hop album of all time, but he also made over $100 $100 million on a vitamin water investment, plus a further $78 million from a luxury underwear deal. In the late 2000s, 50 Cent made an estimated $300 million in only 2 years, so when it announced that he was filing for bankruptcy in mid-2015, with debts totaling over $32 million, the entire world was thinking the same thing. How did this happen? Well, after 50 Cent uploaded a sex tape with Rick Ross's girlfriend, 50 was successfully sued for $7 million, which accompanied another court order for 50 Cent to pay $17 million to a headphone manufacturer after one of their collabs went sour. 50 Cent's clothing company G-Unit Clothing then fell out of the spotlight, which accompanied the closing of his movie company G-Unit Productions, as well as his boxing company SMS Promotions. Throughout the whole process, the global financial crisis had taken a toll on the value of 50 Cent's investments, and by 2015 he was earning a comparatively small $185,000 per month. You could certainly argue that this was enough for 50 to get back on his feet. However, $108,000 of this monthly income was going toward an 18-bedroom mega mansion, while the remaining $77,000 was going toward menial expenses such as his gardener, with bankruptcy documents revealing that 50 Cent still owed money to his stylist, fitness coach, and even his barber. Despite this, he began to troll on social media with posts such as this one, spelling out the word broke with $100 bills, and within 2 years, 50 Cent had paid back $23 million worth of his $32 million debt. 50 Cent eventually got back to zero, and according to Google, has built up a net worth of $40 million over the last 5 years.
Well, that's what's up.
But the thing with 50 though, like my thing is, in these cases,
Yeah.
when they file bankruptcy, are they now like, you know what I'm saying, with the finagling of the system? Is the money now? Is because you can't sue me for a bunch of money when my brand is making this much money, but I'm paying myself less. You get where I'm going? So if I only say, hey, I'm only making $40,000 a month, but my brand making $10 million a month, are you suing a 50 Cent brand or 50 Cent Entertainment or whatever?
Yeah.
Or are you suing Curtis Jackson for $50 million when Curtis Jackson don't bring in that much money? So yeah, I'm gonna file bankruptcy, but 50 Cent as the brand is making the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then also the reason why he's able to get his money back so fast, you got to look at the business endeavors. He never stopped working, and that's the thing. And a lot of these people, the T-Pain, Scott Storch, all of them, they stopped working. The money coming in, why the long as the money coming in, everything's good. But soon as your career starts going down and you might not work as much, them hits ain't coming in like they used to.
That gonna come to a stop.
Yeah, that income you've been spending out, you don't spend all of it. You keep it because that trajectory ain't always gonna go like this. It's gonna eventually level out and start going down. But if you got it saved or invested in elsewhere, like Nas is one of the smartest ones because he has he invested in some Clippers. I start seeing those. Their brand now is at Target. And then he invested into the Ring doorbell.
Okay.
That was one of his biggest paydays, was Ring doorbell. He was one of the biggest investors in there, and he made millions off of it. So, oh, you did? But that's what you do. You invest your money into startups that sound good and have potential long run longevity. You don't invest money into company that's already, you know what I'm saying, thriving. And think you finna get a big lump sum.
And a lot of people make the mistake and do that.
Yeah. You invest in like startups that like are futuristic and got potential to be like big. So that's what you do, man. But sad thing is all these people
but a lot of
come from nothing.
Yeah.
And was able to be on top.
Yeah.
And was humble as well through the shortcomings.
But kudos to the ones that was able to get back on their feet and you know.
Because T-Pain one of the richest on Twitch now.
Yeah.
So hey, there's only one stream might stop, but you can always pick up another one, man. But hey, with that being said, make sure y'all spam us up. Let us know y'all thoughts and opinions in the comments, man. But as always, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Here in the phone.
We are.
Yeah,
yo.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long.